Yeah. Okay. The new.
Yeah,
Robert met Tripper.
You good?
The same day Tripper met Elizabeth. The same day Elizabeth met Logan.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
In Mrs. Cutshall's kindergarten class, life seemed so simple back then.
I mean, being a kid is just so simple.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will show.
Back then was 1987.
Do all three.
I still remember my first day of kindergarten.
Back then, Robert was Robbie.
Good morning, Robbie. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
And Mrs. Cutshall was still teaching.
And you'll remember where your things are, right?
It was a very, very special time. This is Elizabeth. And this is Robbie.
Hi, Elizabeth. Let's put your things away.
Oh, she was every teacher's dream of a child in class.
I'll admit I do not remember that first day.
Good morning. I'm so glad you're here.
That first day, 13 years ago,
And here's Logan. Come on in, Logan. Sit down.
Logan was
Yeah. Okay. The new.
Yeah,
Robert met Tripper.
You good?
The same day Tripper met Elizabeth. The same day Elizabeth met Logan.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
In Mrs. Cutshall's kindergarten class, life seemed so simple back then.
I mean, being a kid is just so simple.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will show.
Back then was 1987.
Do all three.
I still remember my first day of kindergarten.
Back then, Robert was Robbie.
Good morning, Robbie. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
And Mrs. Cutshall was still teaching.
And you'll remember where your things are, right?
It was a very, very special time. This is Elizabeth. And this is Robbie.
Hi, Elizabeth. Let's put your things away.
Oh, she was every teacher's dream of a child in class.
I'll admit I do not remember that first day.
Good morning. I'm so glad you're here.
That first day, 13 years ago,
And here's Logan. Come on in, Logan. Sit down.
Logan was late,
I remember you guys.
and Tripper
What's your last name, Tripper? Can you tell me your last name?
couldn't tell us his last name,
I don't know.
You don't know your last name?
or didn't want to.
But I don't actually remember the day.
Millennia.
Remember walking into class and seeing big TV cameras and everything and being excited to tell my friends I was a TV star.
Can you think of some reason why you're very, very special?
We were there because we had this idea.
You're going to graduate from high school in the year 2000.
To meet the class of 2000,
That means you go to kindergarten, you go to first grade, second grade,
this class,
fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh,
and watch them grow up.
9, 10. What comes next? 11.
Jumapel Louis.
And as they grew,
Class you got next.
this class of the future,
Is that exciting?
No.
No.
we'd see how their world changed.
I just want to graduate. I'd like to go back to kindergarten right now.
Show you how we do the crayons. There's a
I mean, when we were in kindergarten, I was never hearing about, oh, there was another school shooting today and 5 more students were killed.
When you graduate from high school, they will say it's the
Millennia.
very good.
That's Robert in kindergarten. That's him in 7th grade, and 9th, and now.
Computers, internet, all that stuff, it's just mind-blowing and wondering where it'll go from here.
This year is 1987.
Mrs. Cutshall remembers telling her kids,
There'd be a lot of computers around, and you'd all have one, and they'd say, oh, no.
but they did say, oh yes, when she made them promise.
Will you send me a graduation card so I know when you graduate from high school? And I can come see you graduate? Would you do that?
Yes.
Do you know why you're so special?
Every day she'd tell them, you can be anything you want to be.
You ready for this?
They must have listened.
What does Elizabeth do?
Elizabeth Olsen plays tennis. She was the co-captain of the Newport High School team.
Yeah, he knew, and he's like.
She has a 3.9 grade point average and will be attending the University of Washington this fall.
Yeah.
That's her prom night.
Oh, it's graduation after this, so this is a big night. I'm excited.
Here's a place for Logan right here.
Logan Dance always wanted to go to BYU and wore the university's t-shirt that first day.
and that's the school I'm going to go to.
He received a full scholarship and will be studying pre-med.
Just a real bright little boy.
Robert Crow always dreamed of becoming a
I
journalist.
don't know if the office sent out the notes that
The editor-in-chief of Newport High School's newspaper
the lead was strange.
received a scholarship from the University of Missouri. He'll be studying journalism.
One day I opened the paper, the East Side Journal, and I saw he wrote an article for the sports section. I was like, hey, that's Robert. You know, I've known him since kindergarten.
And that's what they'll say about Tripper. I knew him then.
I don't know.
You don't know your last name?
Everyone knows Tripper's last name now. It's Johnson. As in Tripper Johnson, Washington State's highest-ranked high school baseball player in the year 2000. The Baltimore Orioles just drafted him in the first round.
It's wonderful to see a kid excel like that. And, of course, I haven't seen his grades.
Mrs. Cutshall can find out for herself. She's been waiting 13 years for this day
Here's Robert William Crow.
to see Robert, Tripper,
He looks just the same.
Elizabeth, and Logan, her kindergarten class from 13 years ago, graduate. They don't know she's here. They never sent her that invitation like they said they would. But Mrs. Cutshall knew she had to be here to see this,
I couldn't believe they haven't changed her mind.
to say hello.
You know who I am?
I think I might.
Sharon Cutshall.
Yeah, I think I.
And goodbye
You remember me?
I sure do, Logan. Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
to the students we watched grow up,
Tripper, do you remember me?
Of course, how you doing, Miss Cutshall?
to say goodbye to them
Take care of yourself.
one last time.
Here they are, almost grown up. Almost. It went by very fast. It really did. Yeah, it really did.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
John Sharify, Como 4 News.